Hello everyone, welcome all of you. Uh, Today in this session we are going to discuss about the poem of Mothers Among Other Things, which was composed by the famous poet A.K. Ramanujan. So before explaining or analysis of the poem, we must know about a brief introduction of the poet A.K. Ramanujan. So, A.K. Ramanujan is a trilingual writer who shows his mastery equally in English, Tamil, and Kannada. While English is the language of his creative works, Tamil and Kannada are the mediums of his translations. He is a fastidious poet and has not produced much. Born in Mysore in 1929, he got his education at Bhanumiyaz High Schools and Maharaja College. During 1958 to 1959, he was a fellow at Deccan College, Pune. Thereafter, he earned a Fulbright fellowship and went to Indian University, where he studied for 2 years. Then he worked as a lecturer in English literature for 8 years at Cologne, Belgaum, and Baroda. Then, for 3 decades, he lived in the USA, working there as professor of linguistics and Dravidian studies in the famed University of Chicago. Though he lived in the USA, he did not forsake his Indian heritage and sensibility. Again and again, he reverted to the theme of the past and displayed a remarkable sense of Indian history and culture. Now we will discuss about the most important works in English literature written by him. The Striders 1966, Relation Poems 1971. Next, a selected poem. It is a collection of the pieces pieces of the first and second volume. And now we will discuss about the translations. Uh, uh, 15 poems from a classical Tamil anthology in 1965. Next is The Interior Landscape in 1967. And next is No Lotus in the Novel in 1969. Speaking of Shiva in 1972. Samaskara in 1976. So we can say that Ramanujan became immortal as a translator, and he is one of the finest poets in English that India can boast of having produced. Now we will discuss about the theme of the poem of Mothers Among Other Things. The poem of Mothers Among Other Things, written by A.K. Ramanujan, is about a mother's struggle and her sacrifices for her children. The title itself of the poem holds a very deep meaning, and in order to understand the meaning of the title, we will divide it into two parts. The first part of the title is of mothers, and second part of the title is among other things. So the phrase of mothers depicts that the poem is about motherhood, and the poet has talked about his own mother in the poem. However, he says that all the mothers face the same hurdles in their lives, and hence the poem is for all the mothers. The second part, among other things, is confusing and can have different meanings. It can be a depiction of the younger generation which considers mother as ordinary commodities and don't have any emotions for them. It means that the poet has talked about many struggles, but here he will particularly talk about the hardships of motherhood. The title can have a different meaning, but it is clear that the poem is about motherhood and its hardships. So let us go through the lines in order to understand what the poet has to say in the poem. So come on the poem, and now we'll explain or analysis one by one line of the poem. So come on the poem. I smell upon this twisted black bone tree this silk and white petal of my mother's youth. From her earrings, three diamonds splash a handful of needles, and I see my mother run back from rain to the crying cradles. So, first of all, we will discuss in the as you know that in the first stanza, the first part of the poem, or you can say first stanza of the poem, deals with the youth of the poet's mother. The poet says that he smells silk and white petal of his mother upon his this twisted blackbone tree. So in the first line, I smell upon this twisted blackbone tree. Smell upon means uh, remembering, and twisted blackbone tree here refers to the present condition of the poet's mother, who is probably bent now because of her old age, like an old tree with a bent stem. So in the first line, I smell upon this twisted black bone tree. When poet remembers the youth of her mother and says that uh, his mother in her young age was like silk and white petal, and now she becomes uh, and now her mother's youth upon this twisted black bone tree, and says that the present condition of Poet's mother, who is probably bent now because of her old age. And second line of this stanza, the silk and white petal of my mother's youth, from her earrings, three diamonds, spells a handful of needles. Next line in next line, third line of the stanza, the poet says that from her earrings, three diamonds, splash a handful of needles. So here, poet says that during her youth days, there were beautiful diamonds earrings in her ears, which would sparkle a handful of needles, that is the rays of sun. Here again the poet is describing the beauty of his mother. Colorful rays reflecting from the earrings depicts the glow that poet's mother had. And next line, and I see my mother run back from rain to the crying cradles. And the poet remembers when the poet remembers his mother's youth, and says that when his mother running back from rain to the crying cradles. Here crying cradles is a transferred epithet, and it refers that young children. This line brings here. And the poet says that when his mother was young, she rushed to the cradle when the baby cried. So we can hear the poet uses a transferred epithet when he says from rain to the crying cradles. Cradles, it is not the cradle that cried, but the baby lying in it. In it. So now we will explain whole stanza. I smell upon this twisted blackbone tree the silk and white petal of my mother's youth. From her earrings, three diamonds splash a handful of needles, and I see my mother run back from rain to the crying cradles. So already we discussed that the first stanza of the poem is about the youth age of the poet's mother, and the poet says that A.K. Ramanujan goes nostalgic about his mother, and he recalls the past when his mother was young. She was very charming and cheerful, delicate like the silk and white of flower. That poet's mother is twisted now. As the poet says that when his mother grew old, now she remembers that there were three diamonds when she was young. There were three diamonds in her earrings and rays of bright light like needles. She was very affectionate and rushed to the cradle if the baby cried. And now we come on the second stanza of the poem. The wrens tack and shoe with broken threads the rags of the tree tasseled light, but her hands are wet eagles, two black pink crinkled feet, one talent crippled in garden, trap set for a mouse, her saris do not cling, they hang loose feather of a once time wing. So, in the second stanza of the poem, the poet describes the middle age of his mother, and when he says the wrens tack and shoe, wrens tack, here the word tack means stitch the pieces of clothes. And the word tag, the first line of the second stanza, the trans tag and shoe. The word tags means a long stitch used to fasten fabrics together temporarily prior to permanent sewing. And second line with broken threads the rags. Here the word rags refers an old piece of cloth, usually torn from a larger piece, and third line of the tree tasseled light. Here the word tree refers to the same twisted blackbone tree, and so all phrase racks of the tree means mother's weak body. Here the word but her hands are wet eagles, two black pinkled feet, one talon crippled in a garden, trap set for a mouse. Her saris do not cling, they hang loose feather of one time wing. And rags of tree means mother's weak body, and tassels. The word tassels uh, in the third line, tasseled means thread used for knotting. The word tasseled light refers to the sun rays which penetrates through the cracks of the tree or its leaves or even the branches. Here they mean hope, angry, and enthusiasm. The lines of the tree tasseled light, the wren tacks and shoe with broken threads the rags of the tree tasseled light. Here the poet means that the rain here symbolizes difficulties and hardships. Tried in this line, the poet tried to stitch and says that about poet's weak mother, her daily activities and her enthusiasm. And about says her the poet describes about his mother's daily routine works and her enthusiasm. And next line of the poem uh, next line of the second stanza, but her hands are a wheat eagle's, two black pink crinkled feet, uh, one talon crippled in a garden trap set for a mouse. So in this line the poet says that, however, his mother's hands were like a wet eagle's, two black pink crinkled feet. Crinkled feet means rough and having creases, and blank pink. The word black pink here symbolizes eagle's struggle, which puts its life in danger in order to feed its young ones. So the here the poet also describes that the hands of poet's mothers are compared with the feet of eagle. The poet is here trying to say that the poet here is trying to say that now we will explain whole stanza of the poem. The the second stanza of the poem. The rain takes and shoe with broken threads the rags of the tree tasseled light, but her hands are a wet eagle's, two black pink crinkled feet, one talon crippled in a garden trap set for a mouse. Her stars do not cling, they hang loose feather of a one time wing. So our the second stanza, uh, the poet describes about the middle ages of his mother, the middle age of his mother, and he says that when the tree tassel light was broken and turned into rage by the rain may be the rain of the years of burdens and misfortunes which come with the passage of time. The poet, the poet's mother lost her youth and beauty. She grew old and withered. Her hands became wrinkled like a wet eagle's. Two black pink crinkled feet, that is, become twisted in shape. These were once perfect but are now rendered ineffective. And last line of the second stanza, the poet when the poet says that her saris do not cling, they hang loose feather of a one times. So the poet says that her saris do not fit tightly on her body but hang loosely round her lean and thin body like a broken feather from the wing of a wounded bird. So here in the second stanza the poet uh, when the poet uses the similes are very apt and appropriate. And now we come on the last stanza of the poem when the poet says that my cold parchment tongue licks bark in the mouth when I see her poor still sensible fingers slowly flex to pick a grain of rice from the kitchen floor. So, last stanza of the poem is about the old age of the poet's mother. In this stanza, the poet expresses his pain and anguish when he remembers his mother in her old age. Here, the poet is filled with distress and feels as if his tongue is licking the rough bark of a tree. He gets this sensation when he thinks about four of her fingers which have bent and with which she can pick with difficulty a grain of rice from the kitchen floor. Needless to say that her fifth finger had become crippled when it was caught in the garden trap to catch a rat. Thus, uh, we can say that in the third stanza of the poem is the theme of the poem. When so through this stanza, through this poem, the poet want to say that to the people, we people treat our mothers without understanding them. The poet says that he is feeling guilty because he used to talk harshly to his mother when he was young and could not understand her sacrifices for him. Here the poet gives message all generations and says that we always respect our mothers and know her sacrifices for us. and do uh, when as now as you know that in this poem the poet feels very sorrowful when he sees the condition of his old mother who is very weak but still tries to do all the works. The poem ends on a sad note and gives the message of love for all the mothers. So here the poet gives a message to all of us that we love our mothers and give them respect. Thank you so much.